Hey everyone, it's John here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at how we can view basic summary statistics in Excel. So when you get a new set of data, you might be interested in what the totals are, what the averages are, what the minimum and maximum values are in your data. And this is going to help you get a better picture of what your data looks like. So in this video we're going to take a look at a bunch of different ways to view these basic summary statistics in Excel. The first method we're going to take a look at is using the status bar to view these summary statistics. So when you select a range of values, Excel is going to display the basic summary statistics at the bottom here in the status bar. Now, if you don't see these statistics, you can right click, and that's going to give you the option to enable or disable the various statistics here. So I've got average, count, minimum, maximum, and sum enabled here. And I get to see those values displayed in my status bar here. Now those values depend on what range of values you select. So when you select a new range of values, those statistics are going to update as well. The next option we're going to take a look at is using Excel formulas to create these basic statistics. So Excel comes with a variety of statistical formulas. So we're going to take a look at using the sum formula, count formula, the average, min, and max formulas as well. So to create these formulas, we can start with an equal sign. And if we start typing out our formula, so for example, sum, we can select that and press tab to create the formula. And then we just need to reference our range of values that we want to find the sum of. And we can close that off with the ending parentheses and press enter. And that's going to create our sum formula. We can do the same thing with a count. And again, reference our range of values and press enter. And we get the count of rows of data there. We also have an average formula. And we can reference our range of values again and press enter. And we get our average value for that column. There's a minimum formula, so min. And there's also a max formula. The next option we're going to take a look at is using the AutoSum command. So the AutoSum command is just a quicker way of automatically creating Excel formulas for our basic summary statistics. So if you select a cell just below your range of values that you want to summarize, and if you go to the Home tab, there's the AutoSum command, and if you click on that, Excel is going to create a sum formula for you with the range of values above referenced in the formula, and you can press enter to accept that formula. Now if I delete that, there's also a keyboard shortcut for this, so Alt equals is going to do the exact same thing. With the AutoSum command, you can also select multiple cells and use AutoSum, and it's going to create a formula in each of those cells. And if we want to create a formula other than sum, we can come up to our Home tab and click on the options here, and we have options for average, count, max, and min. So let's try out our average function. And here we've got an average function now for the range of values above our cell. The next method we're going to check out is using the Analysis Toolpak add-in. So to enable this add-in, we need to go to the File tab first and go to Options and go to the Add-ins section. And we want to select Manage Excel Add-ins. And then we can press the Go button, and that's going to give us the option of all the available add-ins that we can enable. So we want to check off the Analysis Toolpak and press OK. And in our Data tab now, we should see this Data Analysis command. And if we click on that, we'll get the available tools in this Data Analysis add-in. And the one we want is the descriptive statistics. So we can select that and press OK. We need to tell Excel which range of values we want to get summary statistics for. So we can select our set of values. And these are in columns, so we can leave that. And we had selected the labels, so our first row contains labels. And then we want to put this in the same sheet here, so right here. And we just want the summary statistics. So we can press OK now. And Excel will place those summary statistics in our sheet for us. And we've got our mean and the minimum, maximum, sum, and count values, along with some other values here. The next option we're going to take a look at is using the quick analysis feature. So when you select a range of data, you get this small icon at the bottom here. And if you click on that, it's going to give you different options for formatting, charts, totals, tables, and sparklines. The one we want is totals. And here we've got a list of different options available, so we can add in some sums or averages or counts, and percent total and running total. And when you hover over the different options, Excel will show a preview of the results. We also have the same options here, but for a horizontal type of calculation, so across the different rows. And when you select the option you want, Excel is going to insert the relevant formula for us. So here we've got a couple different average formulas referencing the cells above. There's also a keyboard shortcut, so when you select a range of values, if you press Control-Q, that's going to open up that same menu there. If you don't see the icon when you select a range of cells, so this icon here, it might be that you need to enable this. So if you go to the File tab and Options, and in the General section, you might need to check this option off here, Show Quick Analysis Options on Selection. We can also get summary statistics from Excel tables. So if I select my data and go up to the Insert tab and select the Table command to turn it into an Excel table and press OK. Now my data is inside an Excel table. And when you have the active cell inside a table, you get a new tab, the Table Tools Design tab. And in there, there's the option to turn on or off total rows. Now there's also a keyboard shortcut to do that. So Control, Shift, and T will toggle on or off the total row. And inside the total row, you can add different summary statistics. So when you select the cell in the total row, there's a drop-down menu, and you can select different things like the average, count, max, min, sum, standard deviation, and variance to summarize your data. So let's select the average. And here I've got an average of the values above in the column. Another option is to use a pivot table to summarize our data. So pivot tables are a tool in Excel that is specifically designed for summarizing data. So let's create a pivot table with our data. So let's select the data and go to the Insert tab and use the pivot table command. So we've got our range of data selected, and then we just need to choose where we want to place our pivot table. So we're going to put it in the same worksheet, and we can press OK. Now we've got our blank pivot table here, and any field that we want to summarize, we just need to go over to the pivot table fields list window and select that field and click and drag it into the values area. So I've got the sum of that field now. If I want to change the summarization type, I can left click on the field and open the value field settings. And we get options here for changing that to a count or an average or a max or the min. So let's try out the count and press OK. And now I'm counting that field. The next option we're going to take a look at is using DAX Formulas. So again, we need to create a pivot table to use DAX Formulas. So let's select our data, go to the Insert tab, and use the pivot table command. And we're going to put the pivot table in the same sheet. And to use DAX formulas, we need to enable the data model. So we need to check this option to add this data to the data model and press OK. And we'll get our blank pivot table here. And then in the pivot table fields list, we have the table there. And if we right click on it, we can add a measure. So this is how we add DAX formulas to our pivot table calculations. So we can add a measure, and then we can give our measure a name. So maybe first measure we create will be the sum of gold. And then we can use the sum formula. And select our fields to sum. And press OK. And we'll see our new measure here, and we can click and drag that into the values area, and it's gonna sum up that field. And we can do a similar sort of thing with the minimum, maximum, average, and count. The last method we're going to take a look at is to use Power Query to summarize our data. So let's select the data, and if we go up into the Data tab, we can create a table range query from this data. And Excel is going to want us to create a table, so we can press OK. And the Power Query editor is going to open up after that. And when we're in the Power Query editor, we can select any column that we want to summarize. And if we go up into the Transform tab, there's options for statistics here. And that's going to allow us to take the sum or minimum or maximum or count or average of that column. So let's try the sum. And what we're going to get is just a single value. So here's 38 is the value for the sum of that column. Another option, I'm just going to delete this step, is if we want to show more than one statistic, what we can do is go to the Transform tab and use the Group By command. And we're going to do an advanced group, and that's going to allow us the option to come here and delete the Group By field. So let's click on these three dots next to the field and delete. And now we're going to be aggregating everything together regardless of items in a field. And we can add a couple more aggregations here. So the first one we'll do a count. The second one we'll do a sum. So we can sum that up, and we'll sum up the gold field again. And we can do an average. And the same field. And we can do a minimum and a maximum. And we can press OK. And that's going to take everything in the gold field and create a count, sum, average, minimum, and maximum. And then we can go to the Home tab and close and load this to a table. And let's just put this table in the same worksheet here and press OK. And we've got our summary statistics there. So that's how we can view basic summary statistics in Excel. We can use formulas. We can use AutoSum. There's an analysis Toolpak add-in that we can use. We can use quick analysis. We can use table, totals, pivot tables, DAX formulas, and Power Query. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for future videos on Excel. That's it for this video. See you guys next time.